It is insisted by the Honorable Apex Court that all trial courts as well as bar councils of the advocates should try to implement Order 11 of CPC, and object and ultimate purpose of that Order 11 is to be canvassed by arranging the meetings and all this stuff. Now, on this background, first of all, I have to thank the bar community, bar executives, because they are allowing me to speak on this particular Order 11 and 12. Now, Order 11 is concerned with the order discovery and inspection. It consists at least 1 to 23 rules, and out of that 123 rules, Order 14 onwards, Order 11 rule 14 onwards regarding discovery of documents, production of documents. But so far as Supreme Court judgment is concerned, I have to concentrate first part of the Order 11, that is Order 1 to 13. Before touching to that particular aspect and subject of Order 11, it is necessary to consider the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court reported in Civil Appeal number 4296 of 23. In this particular, between Yashpal Jain versus Sushila Devi, their Lordship had observed and passed the orders in paragraph number 7. With reference to this particular direction given by the Honorable Apex Court, I will proceed further to give explanation about my thoughts regarding Order 11. The trial court shall scrupulously the counsel representing parties may be enlightened of the provisions of Order 11 and 12 so as to narrow down the scope of dispute, and it will be also onerous responsibility of the Bar Association and Bar Council to have periodical refresher courses preferably by virtual mode. On this background, it is necessary now what is the exact scope of Order 11, that is to be seen first. How it can be utilized and implemented during the practice, that is also important. Last 41 years, hardly on 2-3 occasions I used that particular Order 11. Otherwise, rest of the provisions I exhausted, but Order 11 is concerned because some restrictions are there. While formulating the interrogatories, while preparing the interrogatories, it is key because that question we are going to pass other side. That information should not damage our own case. First thing behind the advocate's mind in that particular angle, that before formulation of question for interrogative purpose, first of all we have to gather his defense, what evidence is probably available with the defense other side, adverse party. On this angle we have to formulate the questions for giving the interrogatories. Now first of all, the scope of interrogatory is very important. Scope is important that when a person giving interrogatories to adversary, if the answers are as expected by us, given by the other side, it is an advantage to the person who giving the interrogatories. But at the same time, it is our job. It is our job that case of the other side should damage by putting such question in the interrogatory. On this aspect, it is necessary the use of Order 11. Now, question would arise at this stage why this particular provision is not accepted by the advocates every day and daily practice. Because there is a problem that what question is to be found under putting interrogatories. Because normally we have to consider when we are putting the question to the adversary, it may be dependent putting question to plaintiff or plaintiff putting question to the defendant. But once you give the questions to the other side, he becomes clever. He will not give answers properly in the cross-examination. So it is the art of the advocate, by putting question interrogatories, that to reserve certain portions for the cross-examination. Not to be exhausted at the time of putting interrogatories to the other side. But still, we have to gather certain information, circumstantial evidence from the adversary. Because normally, whatever evidence, public evidence available, everybody is knowing. But the facts alleged by the plaintiff or alleged by the defendant, what evidence is in the custody of the adversary is not known to either of the parties. When it may be circumstantial evidence, it may be direct evidence, and that evidence. On this aspect, it is Order 11 is very useful. I will try to emphasize this particular fact, giving two examples. In the case of adoption, when one person alleging for adoption of dependent number one and dependent denying the fact of adoption. On this background, we put the questions in directly interrogatories. He may deny this particular thing because it is coming in the case of the written statement. He denies the change of adoption. Then on this background, what sort of questions should be put in the interrogatories? That is to be seen. First of all, I will try to emphasize. You put the question that you are residing with adoptive father since childhood, because there is evidence of ration card and all these facts are available. Secondly, your marriage is performed by the adoptive father. He cannot say because education card is there. Secondly, your marriage was performed by adoptive father. You had dealt with the property of adoptive father after demise of adoptive father. All these circumstances we can interrogate. When the person is denying the adoption, you put the question in this passage in the interrogatory and gather the explanation or reply from the other side. Because he can't dare to deny these four facts. Because I told earlier, there is an election card, voter's list, invitation card of marriage ceremony. All these documents are easily available. On this background, we must say yes for all four questions. Then stop there only. Your purpose is served by putting four questions. Your problem circumstantial evidence now created. Because it is admitted that you answer the four questions in the affirmative, it becomes a part of evidence. Why it will become part of evidence? Because then again we will travel to order 11 rule 1. When a person put to interrogatories, he has to apply to the court with proper questionnaires. Then after applying the questionnaires, court will study that particular requirement and direct the other side to give reply on these interrogatories. Now before giving some direction, it was not necessary on the part of court to see the all in each question. It can be seen later on after giving reply by the other side. After getting order from the court directing the other side to reply the interrogatory within 10 days, and if within 10 days it did not reply, person who gives the interrogatory again move the court for future orders or subsequent orders. But if the reply is given, then it becomes the reply to be given as per the order of the court, which is on the form of affidavit. Then order 19 will play a vital role in this particular case. Order 19 contemplates when the court directs a party to give reply on the affidavit, it becomes a part of evidence. And if you tell any lie, anything or false statement is made in the affidavit on the oath, it is liable for prosecution. So that is because under order 19, on the basis of direction given by the court, he is supposed to give answer. Normal course in order 13 rule 1 and 2, number of parties filing, number of affidavits. That without any order. It has no legal sanctity on that point. Because one says that I am in possession, he says ultimately court has to find out the truth from the available record. But that affidavits are not actionable because there is no order of the court directing to be affidavits. On this background, we have to consider order 19, and on that 19, we have to consider the answer given by the adversary. It becomes a part of evidence. It is exhibited and it can be used in the trial as evidence. So it is a very important part of under 11 or 30. Another example I can put how in the question, interrogatory question can be put to the adversary. When there is question of inheritance regarding tenanted land, and we know that inheritance is contemplated under section 40 of the Tenancy Act, which came into product in registration 1956. But in the given set of circumstances, the given ancestor of the parties died before 56. When the tenanted land, there was no right of inheritance. Now we are claiming partition. On the basis of this fact, we knowing that our predecessor died prior to 56, we are claiming inheritance in the property. Then we have to give question to the other side, which is true that you admit that my father died in 57. Put the questions in the interrogatory. No give any room to give explain or give a particular date. If you on what day, on what year he died, he say must obviously before 56. So this simplification of this question of interrogatory to be think over by the advocate by putting questions. When this immediate case of section 40 is concerned, when right to claim inheritance, father must died after 56. Before 56 there was no inheritance regarding tenanted land. Because as soon as tenant dies, the right comes to an end. That was the position before 56. So in such circumstances, in this fashion, we have to formulate the question in interrogatory form. Now similarly, we have to expect once to give the interrogatories to other side likely to do answers by interrogatories to us. On this anticipation, we must formulate the question. Because when we are putting such question, it should not boomerang to us. On this aspect to be considered while putting question under order 11 and onwards. So scope of this particular question I just narrated to you. But ultimately the scope of this order 11 to putting interim is the other side, just three purposes. To simplify to establish the facts, curtail the time of the court, to curtail the evidence, and also to catch the other adversary party in our particular case. All these aspects are concerned. All these aspects are very important, can be utilized in the future trial of the court, and it is very helpful. Now, in Supreme Court judgment, what is ultimate aim of the Supreme Court from giving such type of verdict is that nobody, court has noted number of cases, nobody is using order 11. Directly they are using order 11 through production of documents, notice to produce documents, and that is as per procedure laid down, everybody is known. I am not waste time on that particular aspect. What is the purpose of giving such verdict by the Honorable Supreme Court is that in near future, it is likely expected that when there was oral chief examination was there, now that practice is changed and directly claim affidavit is to be given. That development is to be considered also in the form of cross-examination. Because in near future, I am anticipating this fact by this particular day, the court will not going to record cross-examination. In future, directly he will put the directing the parties, there will be an amendment in the CPC may come. Directing the parties to the interrogative, give the other side reply, similarly the other side put the interrogative and give reply. That sort of evidence be collected and then matter posted for argument. There is probability of cross-examination is very rare. Fortunately, at this stage, there is no such amendment in our CPC or in the Evidence Act. Under Section 138, still cross-examination right is available. If the right is available, we must restrict ourselves in putting the interrogatories to restricted means to the extent of the knowledge which are not having information with us. To that extent, we have to give interrogatory. But direct question or any basic attack on the part of defense and other claim, you put that question reserved for the cross-examination. So in such circumstances, it is necessary to enforce the order 11 and order 12. I am coming to that aspect. I hope that this particular situation or my expression which I have given simplify the facts. Any question is there, I can answer that all. Order 12 is concerned, it is an order admission, it is on the part of admission. Admission in the oral admission, written admission, or it may be in the written statement or in the previous statement. That particular admission can be utilized for the purpose of deciding the trial, and in the written statement you admit a certain task. Court supposed to give judgment on order 12 rule 6. Under 12 rule 6, court can directly give degree on the basis of consent or admission given in the written statement. Then other aspect we have to consider Section 145 of Evidence Act. When a person give admission in earlier litigation and now in the present litigation is denying the said fact, then we can contradict the witness with the said admission with reference to Section 145 of Evidence Act. There is one evidence of Section 17 of the Evidence Act which defines what is meant by admission. There is no definition in CPC about the admission, but it is defined under Section 17. Admissions of relevant facts, admissions of particular theme or particular facts, that you can be utilized as a part of evidence. And with it is settled law, the facts which are admitted need not be proved. Now again we travel to order 11. If the facts are admitted in the interrogatory reply, then it will not be proved. So that admission can be used, and therefore there is no connection with each other, order 11 and order 12. And at that fashion we have to consider this particular aspect. Before that, Section 17 is on the Evidence Act. Admission is a statement, oral, documentary, contained in the electronic form, which suggests any inference as to any fact in issue or relevant fact, and which is made by any of the persons under the circumstances hereinafter mentioned. Comment, admissibility, substantial evidence of the fact. Admissible substantial evidence of fact admitted by previous statement used to contradict the witness does not become a substantial evidence where it serves the purpose of throwing doubt on the veracity of the witness. These last four lines are very important because the person who admits certain facts must give opportunity to explain. Because there is one section under Evidence Act, the admission given wrongly or inadvertently, it has to be given opportunity to explain. In spite of our opportunity given, it will not give reply, then it becomes the concrete evidence of admission. In such circumstances, we have to consider the ruling of the Delhi High Court, report in AR 2003, Delhi 288 and दूसरा बोलेंगे AR 2000 Kerala 24. How orders applied is to be utilized in the trial proceeding. What is meant by admission? What is it can be gathered that this is the admission going to the roots of the case. On that aspect, just these two rulings are very important, and we can use this para 8 and 9 of this particular judgment of 2000 Kerala choice. That particular portion I will point out for this, considering the scope of this today's lecture. The object and purpose of serving interrogatories to enable a party to require information from his opponent for purpose of maintaining his own case or for destroying the case of the adversary. The answering of the interrogatories might save expenses, shorten the litigation, enabling a party to obtain from the other side information as to material facts regarding the patient in dispute or issue raised or obtain admission of facts which plaintiff has to prove on issue. But this is the scope of given in this particular way. The future part is also observed. Once the answer is given, it becomes the admission. That admission to be used as evidence during the course of trial. These two rulings are important on this aspect. Now I will turn to the next aspect of the interrogation. This is the procedure which I have communicated to you. Now after passing the order, directing the other adversary to answer the interrogatories, and after getting answer on oath, court's role will start. Court will study every question and answer. If any interrogatories and answer are not touching to the dispute, or touching to the matter in controversy, court will turn down that particular. That is the first. Court has to apply judicial mind to this particular interrogation, and then court will answer, give pass the order. That order number is question number 1, court says any question marked by the court is deleted from the interrogatory which is not relevant, and remaining question and answer will form as a part of evidence, and on the basis of which court will give the verdict. Now, before concluding my this particular speech, I want to one post regarding the jurisdiction following in USA. In USA, because when they read this particular judgment, I just thought that this is the idea behind the judicial system followed in USA. Because our entire legal system based on British government at the relevant time that the procedure and prescribed by the British government. But in this today's fashion or today's world, the USA government has given the specific method of judicial litigation practice. Then what is the procedure laid down? Anybody wants to give when in our country we are giving notice to others side, they are replying. Not only notice is to be given if you want to claim the suit in the you want to file litigation, then only notice is published. Then once notice is issued, you must give a copy of it. You must give your documents. You must give your interpretation what expected from the other side in one side. In reply, written statement, their documents, and their reply, their information. All these documents are completely formulated in comparison. Then you are eligible to file the suit in the court. And on the basis of that material evidence, court will number, court will study, scan the evidence, all pleadings, and if required, court will allow you for 15 minutes, 20 minutes for any given oral evidence. But if the court permits, you are eligible to the court. Even arguments also, excessive time limit is given. Only adopted for the plaintiff to give 15 minutes time to explain this fact. We are satisfied with the arguments of the defendant and evidence of this. If there is no scope to argument of the defendant, no time will be given. And immediately within 15 days from the receipt of the litigation claim proceeding, within 15 days judgment will be given. That is the distinct procedure followed. Appellate Supreme Court judgment comes within 45 days. This is the fast speedy remedy adopted by the US government, which I read in the post. I am not personal knowledge, but on the basis of because this race is lightning now in this particular Supreme judgment. In such circumstances, suppose you have to follow this judgment tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you have to follow this judgment. Still, you have to start practice to put question interrogating. Simplify the case. Whatever evidence we are not having, we are searching till filing of suit, till telling of issue, you are not able to find out the evidence. Maybe circumstantial other evidence. You try to cover it by putting question to the adversary. Then adversary may give. Don't bother about that interrogation. Our client interest should be protected. But keeping in mind that we have to cross-examine the defendant, so not disclose our trace or our main points in the interrogative, so other side should not get alert. So in such circumstances, I try to simplify the order 11 and 12 of CPC. Thanks. Because vital document, suppose you are challenging the SEBI and defendant possessing the original document of SEBI. If it is not produced, what is the consequence? You can produce certified copy. At the most, secondary evidence is permissible. In that circumstance, there is no question of drawing or citing or defense would arise or drawing adverse inference. Another aspect, when 13/11, because in the document having in the custody of the adversary, in which your case is governed, or so you are protecting your right, client interest is disclosed in that document, and you are able to produce it by other document, then withholding the document by the party in spite of order of the court, then order settlement is not allowed. It is normally expected to be given after written statement. Because you don't gather what defense they are given. In matrimonial cases, in husband and wife, if the interrogative is given for the purpose of collecting evidence about the salary, monthly income, there is no defense statement necessary. But in civil litigation, we anticipate the defense of the adversary. Then, after anticipating, you can terminate the question. But before framing of issues, we have to do the interrogative. Because court has to study. After getting the information in the form of answers, it is necessary to cast the burden. What burden should, after giving admission, if the burden shift from the defendant directly to the patient, after the issues, casting burden on the victim. So normally before issues and after filing written statement, introduction should be given.
वादीला यायचे असतील तर डब्ल्यूएस दाखल करायच्या आधी आपल्याला काय ती वादीला तर वादीला इंटरव्ह्यू देते
नाही पण व्हॉट आय टेलिंग
लेट मधल्या कंटेंट्सचे
रिटन स्टेटमेंट एक्सपेक्टेड काय आहे की डिफेन्स वादीला कळला पाहिजे म्हणून मी रिटन स्टेटमेंट बोलतो. पण अदर दॅन डिफेन्स यू वांट टू कलेक्ट सम अदर इन्फॉर्मेशन you can without paying WS you can give
that may amount to the asking for better particulars.
No, I thought work on
Before filing the written statement, if something is asked for, then it may be asking for better particulars.
But actually, though I suggested you can give, okay, there you grant permission.
Yes, necessary.
It depends upon the permission of the court.
Yes.
Nobody, this is not prohibited prohibition. What time it should be given? Normally, it is my experience. Interest should be given after it.
प्रतिवादीला जर का वादीकडनं काही द्यायचे असतील तर डब्ल्यूएसच्या आधी देता येईल.
And then better particulars from Monday. Without issuing his defense, he can give, but there is exception under Order 11 or 12:13 that party cannot expect or preserve any grounds including interrogatories. You have to come in that case. Ultimately, normal study on